People really label it as anger in men when sometimes it's really grief with nowhere to go. You're tuned in to the series Men Being Human, His Inner Critic, with real men, real stories, real emotions. My conversation with, let's call him the too much guy. He's 30 years old. He's single and dating. He has no children. And for his career, he's an executive protection or a bodyguard. And then he's also a youth sports coach. I like to say he was built to guard, trained to react, and conditioned to stay ready. The conversation began when I asked him, who were you before all the titles? And what he gave back wasn't just an answer. It was the story of a displaced identity, of masculinity formed in survival rather than certainty. Before that, he answered, it was foster care. I was from house to house, rules to rules, never really safe, and that was a lot for me as a kid. Then I was adopted as a preteen. Didn't fix everything, but it did change the game. My athleticism was developed. Sports became my survival, and the temper I carried to every home became my movement on the field. Coming up, I voiced my intense emotions without regard, probably because no one ever taught me how to express them with restraint. And then looking back, being passed around, my feelings were ever met with guidance, but they were always being critiqued. Constant feelings of rejection. My emotions spilled, and through outbursts, intensity, and flashes of anger, I yet had a language for. After adoption, my new dad became my hero. But even in that safety, I felt different. As I aged, my emotions got bigger, stronger, harder to contain, and no one showed me how to regulate them, especially when it came to intimacy and loving a woman. I was taught the 3 F's to satisfy a woman. Feed her, fight for her, and sex her down. So you know the F word he used right there. The 3 powerful F's was all he knew to do. So providing, protecting, and being a bedroom performer was the only ways he thought it took to satisfy his woman. Tenderness was not a part of the curriculum. As an athlete, a bodyguard, a sports coach, roughness was rewarded. Dominance was praised. But connection, that required grounding and intentional care. And for him, that felt unsafe. He went on to explain how he met this woman who didn't meet his toughness with fear, but with softness and sensitivity. She showed him that gentleness wasn't a weakness and that it didn't erase his strength. And with his own words, he said, that chick challenged everything I learned. But still, his inner critic stayed loud. The relationship didn't last. He said he wasn't ready, but he recognized she was necessary to have come into his life. Overall, when he pulled back, when he held his tongue, when he swallowed his vulnerability, it whispered, you're too sensitive. Your masculinity is too much. Then subconsciously, the old wounds always echoed. Maybe that's why your bio mom gave you up. Maybe that's why you were always getting passed around. Now at this point, my compassion wanted to take over. My eyes started to tear up and I wanted to just grab him and hug him tight. But I kept my composure and then I listened further. He said, even now I struggle. I pause before opening up. I police my tone and I constantly watch myself. Not because I don't feel, but because I feel too deeply. And does the world see me as too much? Does the world see me as a threat? So audience, my question to you all, does that mean his masculinity is too strong? Does that mean he's too much? Well, me speaking with him, what stood out was unprocessed resentment tied to abandonment. He grieved the rejection of his bio mom. And then it just seems like he needs a skill in tenderness. And then the confidence to believe that his masculinity isn't unlovable or dangerous. So again, let us know your thoughts in the comments. This is the short stories of men being human. Real men, real stories, real emotions.